Hey guys, welcome back to the Theme Park Realm YouTube channel. Now today we're going to be taking a look at No Limits 2. So I'm going to be sort of starting a new series on the channel. Where we basically try and create a roller coaster in No Limits 2. Now, to start off with today, we're just going to be sort of creating like a simple layout. So what I'm going to opt for, I'm actually just going to opt for a dive coaster. And we're going to just create a simple layout on the dive coaster. Just sort of show you how No Limits 2 works if you've never used it before. Now, if you have used No Limits before, this video probably won't be that interesting. But for people who've never used it before, it should be quite informative. I'm going to show you sort of the key features. And as I say, we're just going to create a simple layout for now, and then eventually we'll create something more sort of complicated. So we've gone ahead. We've got the software open now on the screen. So I'm just trying to think what to call the coaster. I mean, it's going to be a B&M dive coaster. So now I'm going to base this sort of off Oblivion at Alton Towers. Now it's going to be a very simple layout. So it's almost just going to go, up, straight down into the dive, back into the station. It's not going to be very complicated at all, but this is kind of just a way of sort of getting your head around like block sections and things like that, just to show you how it sort of all works. I haven't used No Limits either for quite a while, so I feel like it's going to sort of get me back into it as well. But yeah, we'll go ahead, we'll call this one Big Dive. We'll call it Big Dive Coaster. We'll just pop that on there, and then we'll just click OK, and then it'll just start generating the park. Now you can put sort of multiple coasters on here, so you can almost sort of build like your own theme park if you want to. For the purpose of this, so obviously we're just going to be building one ride. So the first thing you'll get is you'll sort of just get this landscape here, and then if you notice at the top you've got like sort of a number of different options. So we're just going to go into coaster and then new coaster. Again, we're just going to pop on here Big Dive because that's the name of the ride in this case. And then it'll sort of generate some coaster sort of properties on the left. So what you need to do now is just go into coaster, go to new coaster, and then again, oh no, sorry, I have got this wrong already. No, we need to go into track because we've already got the coaster here. It's selected off. We need to go to track and then start vertex. Now, for the purpose of this, I'm going to go into display at the top right and just go top, just so we've got sort of like a top-down view, and you can see sort of what we're looking at. So we're going to start the ride, I don't know, we'll start it here. Now, what I normally like to do as well at this stage is just go into terrain, and then just set the terrain height as well. So I'm going to go back into perspective. Now, if you go to set height here, and then set whole terrain height, and then just make it higher, because what that does then, I've gone like sort of under it. What it does then is it just means that you can move. So let's say we needed to make the track lower than the terrain, we can now do that. You can lower the terrain down. Now if you have it on the lowest setting and you try and lower the terrain, it sort of like creates a pond. I don't know if there's any way around that, not from what I'm aware of. What I always do is just what I've done there, just sort of bring the terrain up to begin with, and then you don't have that issue. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and place a vertex there and there. And then that will be the station. Now I'm just going to make sure that this is, it's above ground level. So we're facing the right way. So this is going to be the sort of station area. Now we need to select that and then just make sure that we've got the right coaster. So if you go into coaster properties and then go to style, and then we're going to need to make sure that we've got the sort of coaster that we want. Now there is loads of different coasters on here. So this is just sort of, I thought the dive coaster would sort of be the best one to go with. Now we're going to have dive coaster without water scoops, just because it's not going to be going into water, and then we'll go for worn. Now you can select sort of like the worn type of the rail, so we'll go for worn, and then rail type is standard. Now you can have it so it's got sort of like lines on the rails where the wheels would go. Don't like that myself, so we're just going to go for standard. And then you'll notice that the track now has gotten a lot wider because obviously it's a dive coaster. So this here is going to be the station. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a little bit longer because it's going to have to fit 2 trains. Now if we're sort of going for the same style as Oblivion, we would have put a double station. However, this is a flawless model, so it takes up a lot more room. So for this one, we're just going to have 1 station just to sort of keep it simple. Now, if I click on that, if I go to section type and then go to station, and then there you see it's generated the sort of station area. Now this train is either too long or there is multiple trains there. So if we go into coaster properties again, go to trains, cars per train is now 6, so we want that to be 2 cars per train, and then we're going to go for 5 trains. Similar to, so actually no, we'll lower that down. We'll go to for 4 trains. Since I've only got 1 station, we'll do 4 trains. So that's going to be the station area there. And then, I'll say, we're going to try and sort of keep it similar to, sort of a similar layout to Oblivion at Alton Towers. So we'll go back a little bit here. Now, what we are also going to need here is, I'm just going to bring that back actually. What we're going to need is a transfer track. So in order to get that, you just need to go into Elements, Special Track, and we're going to have a transfer table. So when I copy this down, you'll see there's 3 different things. Now, I only need 2, so if we click on here, and then we can change that so it's number of tracks 2. We'll make the distance a lot wide, let's say 10 meters for now, and also the length of it as well, and it needs to be about 5 meters, that'll do. And then we'll just swizzle that round like so. And then we just need to sort of place that sort of, oh god, didn't mean to do that. If we drag these sort of things here, we can kind of just move this across and then move it up, and boom, there we go. So that's sort of there now, and I just need to make sure that this is perfectly level. Now all this track, I'm going to sort of clip this onto here just so we've got something to work from. So I'm going to just sort of keep that on there, and then I can move this up. Again, I just need to get these sort of like lines here, and then I can move that up so it's exactly the same, because otherwise you'll end up with like sort of like a little bump, and you know you don't want that. So I just move that across like so, and there we have it. So that's perfect now. So that's going to be the transfer track. Now we can switch that back there so it's in the sort of correct place, and it's still a little bit out that, so I'm just going to move it across a tiny bit. There we go. And then if we select that, and then go track connect, that'll connect that together. So now we've got one sort of straight section of track, and then obviously the maintenance sort of area is going to be here. So we're going to again just add a piece of track onto here, and then that will be the storage sort of area. Now I'm going to put another storage area here as sort of like an outside one, so we'll just bash that there as well. Now with these pieces of track here, these pieces won't actually do anything, so you need to make sure that you go for storage track, like sort of like maintenance shed. You need to click on the track and change it to storage, because otherwise it won't sort of pick it up and it won't work. So make sure they're both selected, and then you can see obviously we've got a total of 4 trains, so 2 of those now are in the storage track. Now what I'm going to do as well, because you can see here obviously that here now is 1 block, so if I wanted to move this train over to here and then push it forwards, it wouldn't let me. So I'm just going to add another sort of separator there, and then I'm going to select that to storage as well, and then that will just mean there that we've got 2 storage areas. So we can have, in total on this track now, we can have 4 trains. We can have 1 on the transfer track, 1 there outside, 1 there, and 1 there, and it just works a lot better. Now another important thing as well with No Limits is just to make sure that everything is sort of named. Now I've done this before where I've built a roller coaster with like loads and loads of different blocks, and then I haven't named the blocks, and if you need to like move trains and stuff like that into the transfer area, it is just a lot easier if you've already got them named. So we're going to call this storage 1, and then we're going to call this one storage 2, and then we're going to call this one storage outside for that one. And then this track here, we'll just call this transfer track, just so we know where it is. Transfer track, and then I'll put pre-station, just because you know then it's before the sort of station area. Obviously this bit here is just sort of standard tracks, that doesn't need anything doing with it. This is the station. I assume this is unnamed as well, so we'll just put station on there, just so we know what's going on. And then that's it. So that's sort of the main sort of layout there for the sort of maintenance area, and that's where the station's going to be as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of build a little bit of the brake run as well. Now this is sort of doing it a little bit backwards, but I'm just going to, so there's going to be a block here, so I need to make sure that I've got this set out correctly. So this is going to be a block, so I'm going to just go ahead and add a type separator there, and then we're going to make this into a brake. And then we just need to make sure it's selected to block. we've got we need a transportation device as well, so we need to put friction wheels on that, because otherwise, because the track's perfectly flat, the train won't move anywhere on its own. And we're going to put pre-station block down as the I've just spelled that completely wrong. We'll put pre-station block down as the name for that one. Let me just correct that. So that's going to be the pre-station block there. And then we're going to, so as I say, it's going to be similar to Oblivion, so I'm going to sort of do sort of a little curve section here. Now I'm going to add another vertex there, just to make sure the track sort of stays straight here. And then I'm also going to add a roll marker. And then what this will do here, because sometimes when you go around a corner, it will make the track roll a little bit like that, and obviously you don't want that when you've got a brake run. So if you set this to 0 degrees and then put strict, it will just make sure that anything past here is going to stay perfectly straight. And then if we just go back to top, now I'm going to, as I say, I'm going to go sort of into a curve section here. So just sort of get the basic sort of layout of it. So it's going to go like that, I'm assuming. That looks alright. I'm not sure whether to move this here a little bit, and then yeah, that looks a lot smoother. So that's going to be sort of the brake run's going to be up here, and then it's going to sort of come round into the station. Now, just to make sure the train does make its sort of way round here, I'm going to make this little bit here a little bit higher as well, just so there's a little bit of a bank here, and then it'll just make sure the train can get round. Now, I know on certain dive coasters they have like sort of like a lift mechanism that goes around corners, but unfortunately in No Limits you can't do that, and a lot of more recent dive coasters just sort of use gravity right on the corners as well. So we're just going to raise that little bit here up to sort of, let's just say, I'll go for there. We'll just go for there, and you know, that should work. Now, if you want to know if this is going to work or not, what you can do is if you go display, no, not that one, sorry. If you go on to, where is it? Here, so if you go on this drop down menu and then you go to speed comb, it shows the speed of the train round the ride. So as you can see, this bit here is going to be absolutely fine because we've got a little bit of speed going all the way around there. Now this bit here, obviously this whole brake run's going to be slanted upwards as well, so that bit will sort of sort itself out, and then this, you know, it's going to go around there no problem at all. And then it just sort of gives you an idea then of if it's going to work. So, you know, when we go on to like sort of building the actual coaster as well, we can see then, we can make sure with the speed comb that it's actually going to make it sort of way round there. So that's that there, and then obviously we need to sort of come back up into the brake run as well. So let me just go back onto this view here. So this is going to be the brake run for the ride. Now I'm going to, as I say, this is all going to be sort of slightly banked. Now I don't want to make it too banked, but we're going to sort of, we'll just see how this looks. So I'm going to add another vertex there, and then, oh god, I'm going to add another vertex there. Now this at the moment doesn't look straight at all, so in order to make sure this whole section of track is straight, in fact I think that's a little bit too long, we're just going to, if we highlight over all of this and then go make straight up there, that will straighten out that piece of track. So now if you go back into this view, you'll see that piece of track there now is perfectly straight, obviously until you hit this corner bit. I'm going to add a little bit of a bank there as well, so I'm going to put 2 more roll markers. Now this one is going to be strict, so that's going to keep that track there at 0 degrees. And then this bit here, we're going to add sort of a little bit of a bank there, just as it sort of comes back round, just to make it more sort of more smooth, I guess. And then this here is going to be the brake run. So for the brake run, we're going to have we're going to put some more type separators on there. So this bit here is going to be sort of the final brake. There's going to be another block here, and then there's going to be sort of a trim brake there. So that's the, as I say, that's the final brake, and then this section here is going to be another brake, which is sort of a complete stop friction brake. And then this section here, we're going to add a magnetic brake, which will just sort of slow the ride down as it comes in. So if I click on that now and then go to magnetic, and then just lower the speed on there. Now, as I say, we don't know sort of what sort of speeds the ride's going to be coming into here at yet. So it may be that we need to make this longer. We might need to, you know, may even need to get rid of one of these brakes, but that's sort of the basic layout for now. And again, I'm just going to go back into here and name all these just for sort of future reference. And it appears that I can't spell today at all. So that's final brake. This is pre-final brake, and this here is just trim. So I don't know. brake run trim we'll put on there. And then, as I say, we're going to tweak all of this anyway. So once we've built the ride and we can see sort of what speed it's going to be coming in at, we'll tweak that anyway. And then just to make sure we've got speed, so you can see now the train is going to make it all the way around here. It'll be absolutely fine there. So that's sort of the basic sort of, you know, how block sections work. Now what I'm going to do now, just before we end off, I'm also going to sort of freeze the section, and we're just going to make sure that everything's working on here really. So if I just freeze, I'm going to first of all make sure the colour's correct. So we don't want white rails, we want, I don't know what colour to go for actually. I feel like I'm just going to go for sort of a dark grey colour for this. So we're going to have everything sort of very, very dark grey. And then we'll have some wacky sort of yellow supports. There's no supports there yet, but when there are. Catwalks as well need to be the same colour as the track, and the handrails which will go on the catwalks need to be the same colour as well. Now at the moment there won't be any catwalks on here, so actually just while we're here I'm going to add some railings onto this section of the brake run, just so you can see how that would work as well. So again, coaster properties, and then we just, again, that's the wrong thing, that is not the correct thing. You need to go into style settings, left right catwalk railing, and then you can put lights on them as well, and then we'll just make the lights yellow. It's going to be sort of a dark grey yellow theme, this ride. And then if we just go onto here now, we just freeze the ride, and then you should be able to see that this has all worked. So let's just give it a second just while it sort of freezes itself. Okay, so this is all frozen now, so you can see sort of how this is going to look. This is the final brake run. This is sort of the bank turn and then back into the station area. Now, I actually feel like I'm going to want to tweak some of this because I don't really like how long this turnaround section is. And the bank that I put there as well, I don't really like that either. But you can, in No Limits, it is possible to sort of test a ride sort of before you actually have built sort of the rest of it. So if you press S, no, it's not F5, F4, you can bring up sort of the control panel, and then I'm just going to E-stop that for now because otherwise it's going to go into nowhere. And then we'll just go on to full manual, and then I should just be able to bring this, so you can see here the transfer track in action. Obviously you're going to have to ignore the fact everything's white at the moment, because I will fix that sort of in later episodes. So there goes the train onto the transfer track, and then we can just sort of, we should be able to just bring this sort of forwards. Where are we? I always get lost on here. Oh, if we go into manual block, and then there we go, forward on that one. See, sometimes this does confuse me. This is why you've got to make sure that you've named everything on here. Obviously, with there being like sort of missing things on here, it's causing a little bit more of a nightmare. So where are we? This is the storage. That is the transfer track. So if we go onto here and just look for transfer track. Where are we? Station, storage. I see what's happened. So I haven't put any wheels on the transfer track. So let's just come out of here, unfreeze that. So yeah, you will sort of, you know, you have to sort of work with these things as you go along. So the reason it's not working is because I haven't put a transport device on the transfer track. So now if I come back, if I freeze that back again now, and we're just going to have to give it a minute. Okay, we're back. So I've fixed this now, so it's now got sort of friction wheels on it, so it should now work. So if I go back onto manual mode, I'm hoping that I can just, oh there we go, manual block. So if I move the transfer track again, where are we? Transfer track. If I move that again, just to take one of these trains off, that's all, just because I want to move them all forwards. So this is going to come across now, and we should be able to push this either backwards or forwards into the appropriate sections. So I'm going to go, we'll put it backwards, just into there. And voila, that's it. So that's now in storage, that train. Now if I go back, again, move this back onto sort of the main sort of track area. Here we go. You can as well adjust the speed at which this sort of comes across. And then again, if I go into blocks, so now this is the pre-station block, so if I just go forward on that, this will bring this onto the transfer. It should do it anyway. I might need to feel like I need to undo them brakes there. Station should not be dispatching, there's nowhere for it to go. Where are we? So, if I need to bring this forwards as well. So sometimes, you know, with it not being a finished ride, it is a bit of a pain. So I'm just going to go into here. So, where are we? Pre-station transfer. I'm going to turn that off. Take the brakes off that. Transfer track brakes. There we go. There we go. We're cooking on gas now. There. Okay. So what I'm going to test now is I just want to sort of see. So I'm going to move this train all the way out the way as far as it will go. Now that sort of messed the ride up again because it's now not really sort of technically on a block. But hey ho, there we go. So if I go back into this train here now. So if I just push this train forward. So where are we? We're on the brakes. Final brakes. So if I just turn these brakes off. And now you can sort of test to see, you know, how sort of quickly it's going to sort of come round this corner section. And there you have it. So it's not bad, but I do feel like it needs to be, you know, I just feel like this needs to be sort of made smaller because it's a very sort of large sort of turnaround section there. But yeah, that's all for today, guys. So if you did enjoy the episode, please let me know. If you'd like to see more No Limits episodes, I am sort of open to uploading more. And you know, we can get this coaster sort of finished off. I just kind of wanted to show sort of off how the, you know, the block sections work on No Limits, and the transfer track as well. So I feel like we've shown that off. And you know, if you do want to see more videos like this, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, as I say, I will see you in the next episode of No Limits.